What's up guys, LUI. So Saturday, I watched yesterday exceptionally the prejudging of the open bodybuilding. I'm going to talk about it in a few. Right before that, proper salute to the 212. I was pleasantly surprised by that guy, Derek. He was coming. I mean, he was announcing his colors, and deservedly so. He won versus a very, very strong Clarida. Clarida is pretty much pushed to the limit envelope in that category, but still aesthetically Derek edged it. The dude looks like a freaking classic physique guy, for Lord's sake, with that vacuum and that and those lines. And yeah, did not even reach his cruising speed. I contend he will have a proper legacy and a winning spree. His reign will last for almost a decade. He can do that. Anyway, on to the prejudging, which I watched in HD. So if I still have some good eyes for bodybuilding, which I covered for a while, as you guys recall back in the day, I used to have the eyes for it. Why? Because I come from an epoch where we used to watch pictures on magazines exclusively, and you lurk at them continuously, relentlessly, times and again for literally months and months and months and months. So you have that vision, that one shot, one eye judgment statement. And with today's era, with the internet and videos and what have you, it's a different ballgame. So back in the day when I used to make videos and blogging about bodybuilding, I used to make a single video after watching the event only once, and that's it. I don't watch it twice. So at a first glance yesterday, obviously the talk of the hour is between Big Ramy and Brandon. Now that is what I think about it, and that is what the judges are looking for. First of all, there is a big disappointment when it comes to Hadi Choopan. Huge some sort of backlash, especially from the fans. Better to know that Persians are quite passionate about their heroes. Fact of the matter is, Choopan is a medium sort of guy. He used to compete in the 212, and he jumped into the open. And the open is a big man's sport. It is what it is. They made that choice a long time ago. The guy will never be big. Furthermore, this year he came a tiny bit smaller than before, and it shows. Good Lord, even next to Hunter Laborada, he looked a little bit small. And next to Nick, and as far as I know, he was not compared to Nick, like right next to him, and he was already looking smaller next to Nick. So they'll give him third. That's what I think. Nick will be fourth, deservedly so. He deserved it, because I think Bonac is off. Bonac will take fifth, and Hunter will take sixth, as far as I can see it. Now, the top spot, frankly, at this point, sorry about that, it is still open. Now, admittedly, in the wheels department, it's night and day. I mean, Big Ramy is pretty much the biggest wheels in the business, on the biggest frame in the business, whereas the contrast between the upstairs and the downstairs of Brandon is obvious. His legs are by far his weakest point. It's pretty much Achilles' heel. But it's up in the air. It's not a solid win for Ramy yet. If normalcy is the name of the game, Ramy will still hold his title. But the word that I'm hearing is that Brandon might win it. They might give it to Brandon. That's the talk of the backstage down there in Florida. So that's it. So it's not a secure victory for Big Ramy. Truth needs to be told. In a lot of shots, Brandon edges. He is just better than Big Ramy. As an example, case in point, side triceps you take a look from the waist up, dude, it's all Brandon. Bubbly, tiny waist, the belly sway very good. You know, it's just proper sweeps everywhere. Midsection is controlled, which Big Ramy, he cannot do it. Big Ramy is incapable of controlling or holding a tight midsection, you know, striated, basically obliques and abs in a side chest or a side tricep. He cannot do it. He's too big for that. Whereas the flexibility of Brandon is definitely better upstairs. And better to know, if you take a look very closely, the arms of Brandon are bigger than our Big Ramy. I met these guys in real life. Granted, Ramy is heavier, no doubt. Just like back in the day, another Egyptian, Nasser al-Sambari, was exceedingly heavier compared to Flex Wheeler, but Flex looked bigger. Case in point, he nicknamed him the Sultan of Illusion because he was nicknamed the Sultan of Symmetry. This was in the Arnold Classic 1997, which Flex Wheeler won. Second place went to Nasser al-Sambari. Flex Wheeler was 225 versus a guy who was 280, yet on back shots and front double biceps, a lot of body parts were just bigger. The arms of Flex were just bigger. So that's that. We'll see how it goes. It's up in the air. It's very up in the air. One last comment. It's unfortunate that did not shuffle around Chupan with the other guys. They didn't even put him next to Nick, as far as I can see. Plus, he deserves to be next to the other guys. He's the most conditioned, there's no doubt about it. But the size still matters. He's pushing his genetic. He is not a genetic freak. Chupan is like the Libyan guy. His name is Grarni, I think. Grarni, who plays third and the 212. Chupan is the same as that guy. Bigger. It's a bigger version of Grarni. Genetically, they're like a 7 on 10. But they're pushing the limit of their genetics to the max. That's all they can do, right? There's some guys who can train, who can do everything by the book, but they will never win it. Just like the commentator, Richard Gaspari. He was pushing his genetic, which was definitely not as excellent as Lee Haney, and he never won. Talking about that era finally, Lee Hunter, who was the son of Lee Labrada, obviously. He is like his father on juice. It's kind of funny, but that's that. He's like a version of his father, just a little bit bigger, but unfortunately he has the weakness of his father, which is a shallow lower back. You know, and it showed back in the day versus Lee Haney, who was commentating also yesterday, and Lee Labrada never won it. He was very conditioned, very aesthetic, and Lee Labrada is a bigger version of his father. So he would place very good in the future, but this time around he'll have probably 6. So again, my final statement is that number 1 or 2 is still up in the air between Big Ramy and basically Brandon. Third is Chupan. Fourth is Nick. Fifth is Bonac. And sixth is gonna be Hunter. Tell me what you think.